So you can see that when you are shooting down on me and it is an angle of the camera where you're looking down and the person's face is looking up, it's more youthful. One of the reasons why is because your chin is kind of down and your eyes are kind of up, so your eyes open up more. You get more of the whites of your eyes, plus the light is very often overhead. Like my light right now is an overhead strip and 2 side strips for a makeup mirror. So the overhead light causes me to look up into the light if the camera guy was there. Camera girl, don't matter. And so it's a pretty flattering light. Like I don't have a lot of flaws that are emphasized. This actually erases a lot of my flaws by looking up and looking into the light. However, it also makes you look short, and it also makes you look down on a girl's boobs. And so those are 2 things to keep in mind while you're deciding what angle you want to be at. So now I'm going to shake the camera a little bit. I'm going to bring you down. I'm going to bring you down even more. There's my boobs. Hi, boobs. Okay. Now we're going to shoot up. Kathy Griffin is the lovely person who told me never shoot up on a person over 40. And here's why. All of a sudden, the lights that are up here over my head are here. So when I look down, all of the emphasis on like my fine lines and bags and weight, you know what I mean? Like that's the difference obviously between a younger and an older lady, is we have bags of things that fall. Oh, that's so lovely. So anyway, if I'm looking down at you, that all gets exaggerated. Most of the time you don't have lights on the floor, so there's no fill. That's what you would do if you had to shoot me this way. You would put something light up underneath here to come in and fill in these bags, fill in these lines, fill in this light up here. Okay, I gotta stop doing that, looking down. Ah! So, sorry for shaking you. I just don't want to see myself in the light anymore. Hi, okay, that's better. Anyway, I just wanted to help you see why you choose different angles. You can either choose straight on, which is very often the way to go. So as a photographer, you'll often make yourself shorter or taller so that you can be pretty straight on with your subject. That way you don't get distortion on how tall they are. You don't get a weird angle on a woman's boobs. You don't emphasize anything that might be like a saggy situation. Or the opposite. You actually do want to make someone look a little older, a little more tired, a little bit more put through the ringer. Then shooting up on them is not a bad idea at all. And on top of that, sometimes it makes a great portrait. Like my very first photography teacher, Gypsy Ray was her name, up in Santa Cruz, used to do really great portraits of people in wheelchairs, and she would go lower and shoot up because they were not used to seeing themselves like that, and they really enjoyed the contrast of how it felt to be looked up to. So there are reasons. You have to make choices when you're shooting. You need to decide, and everything matters. The lighting, today we're covering angles, so the angles really matter. Never shoot down on a girl when you're shooting a swimsuit because her legs will look this big and her torso will look this big and her head will look that big. And it's not the right proportions. However, shooting up is great if they're younger, and when you do shoot up on someone, now their head becomes little and their legs become really long. So you have to be careful how much you're shooting up. Very often if I'm shooting a catalog, I get down a little lower than the model and I shoot up. But you shouldn't be able to tell when you're actually looking at my photos. It should be a very slight, not noticeable difference from shooting straight on. Often if you shoot straight on, they look a little shorter. If you shoot a little bit up at them, they look a little taller. It's just a little tiny trick. You don't want to overdo it on any angle unless you are creating the illusion of something, which is another reason why when you have somebody stick out their chin, it could look good or not look good, because it actually makes their neck look a little smoother. And if you have somebody stick out their chin a little and down a little, it opens up their eyes. So angles matter. Where you are as a height compared to your subject will always matter if you're shooting people. If you're shooting landscapes, switch to a different vlog. All right, see ya.